Hey everyone. I decided to do my video on Game of the Year, being that we're in the first week of November in 2013. It's basically the end of the year, and I think basically all the best games have come out for the year. And looking up the lineup for what's left in November and December, I decided to do this video now just because I think the best games are out, and there are actually 4 games I think that are in contention of Game of the Year. The first one I want to start with is a game that I purchased at the very beginning of the year in January. Was a game called Ni no Kunai Wrath of the White Witch. Now, to be honest, I thought that this game would be Game of the Year based on the trailers I seen and just cinematics and whatnot. I really had high hopes for Ni no Kunai, but however, the storyline was average in it. Again, first thing I want to say is for all four games I want to review, there's going to be very minor spoilers, so don't worry about that. If you haven't played any of those games and you're worried I'm going to talk about something, play them first before you watch this video because I don't want to spoil it for you. But again, there'll be some spoilers, but nothing that is groundbreaking. But Ni no Kunai, the genre is an RPG role-playing game, which is my favorite genre. Some of my favorite games in the genre and overall are games like Final Fantasy IV for Super Nintendo, which is the one with Cecil and Rosa. Final Fantasy VI, with Edgar, Sabin, Terra, etc. Final Fantasy VII, and the last really good Final Fantasy that I enjoyed was Final Fantasy X with Titus and Yuna. 12 was okay, but 12 was basically the one where the franchise really started going downhill for me, but that's another story. So anyway, I'm a big RPG enthusiast. They're my favorite games. I love to level up characters and go from town to town. But this game, Ni no Kunai Wrath of the White Witch, I had high hopes for, but to be honest, I thought the storyline was subpar. On a rating system of 1 to 10, I'm going to be given certain ratings in each game. Now, first of all, I will tell you, Ni no Kunai, the graphics, I give a 10. There's something called cell shading in the game. It is beautiful. The animation is top notch. In fact, out of the 4 titles I'm going to discuss, Ni no Kunai is basically the most beautiful of the 4. It's just great. It can't be beat. The music, again, top notch. I at least give an 8. It was orchestrated and recorded by the Tokyo Philharmonic. They did a great job. The music is top notch, and you can't beat it. Where the game lacked, the storyline, I give a 5. Basically, you're a young boy. I think you're like 10 years old, and you're trying to revive your mother. Minor spoilers. She had a weak heart and she passed away, and the object of the game is to revive her in a fantasy world. So I give the story like a 5. Where I thought the game really failed, to be honest, was the battle system, and the battle system was really bad. I give it like a 3 out of 10. You may disagree with me, but I really disliked it. There's 3 main characters in the game besides Oliver, the main character. There's 2 others, and constantly you had to switch between these characters, and each character had 3 familiars. So you could either play a character or a familiar. The familiars were basically like pet creatures, like Pokemon, if that makes sense. And I found that about probably a third of the way through the game, I switched my difficulty from normal to easy, just because it was so involved, and I really didn't think the AI system was there. It was bad. I was constantly dying, and again, I consider myself an above-average video game player, but it was just bad. And besides that, your character is constantly dying. The AI was bad. Your other AI, the 2 other characters you weren't controlling that you could switch to, they didn't heal themselves at proper times. They just ended up dying really quick, and it was just every battle, not every battle, but most battles was a constant struggle to win, because you had to make sure everyone was alive. The battle system really ruined it for me. And another part of the game that really I thought was pretty bad was how many freaking creatures there were that you could tame, again, like Pokemon. And there were hundreds of different creatures. And each creature that you captured and put on part of your team, they then evolved into other categories. So, say you started out with like a level 1 creature that was like a goblin or something. When he reached level 10, he had two paths to go to. He could be Goblin 2A or Goblin 2B. And then when that evolved, it was like a skill tree branch. That Goblin again could evolve at level 20 into something different or something else different. And it was just too much. Like, they really should have dumbed that down. I got overwhelmed with it. Maybe you didn't, but it was too much for me and it took away from it. But that was Ni no Kunai. Again, it was a big disappointment. I thought it would be Game of the Year, #1. I put it in 4th place for the Game of the Year. The next game I want to talk about is BioShock Infinite. The BioShock series is kick-ass awesome. One thing I will tell you, I really don't like shooter games just because they're so frequent, and I really think, I'm not a computer programmer or a game maker, but I think they're the easiest to make just because of how they're done. Like, you're basically, you never see your character, you're always holding a gun running around, and I don't know, there's just too many of them. With the Call of Duty and, you know, the Battlefields and whatnot, and the BioShocks, they're all the same to me. Now, I will tell you where BioShock shines is the storyline, which, you know, I was just saying Ni no Kunai was about a 5. BioShock storyline is easily a 9. If you've ever played, there's only 3 BioShocks, 1, 2, and 3. There's always a twist. What BioShock does is it makes you feel like a WTF moment, usually towards the end of the game, where you're like, how the hell, what the hell's going on, what the fuck? They continue to do that and surprise you. What I will say is with BioShock, the reason this is, I gave BioShock 3rd place. What really just took me away from it is they continue to do the same thing over and over again, and that's okay. That's working for them because the game got great ratings. Your main character, Booker DeWitt, is played by a voice actor called Troy Baker, and the dude's awesome. He's one of the best video game voice actors of all time, if not the best. And we'll be discussing him in the next video or two as well, because he was in 2 games that were Game of the Year. Not besides me. Again, these 4 games are my opinion, but I guarantee you that most of them were considered Game of the Year by, you know, like GameTrailers.com or GameSpot or other popular YouTubers. But where BioShock shines is, like I said, is the twist. Like, the storyline is always a 10 out of 10, if not at least a 9. The graphics are above average, but the gameplay, for me, I didn't play the game, I watched other Let's Players do it, and it's a shooter. I mean, I'm not into them, to be honest. I think the gameplay is like a 5 out of 10, and again, that's my opinion, but where it really shines is the storyline and the what the fuck moment. And if you haven't ever played a BioShock series, play them, because for the storyline, they are kick-ass. Now, where I really have trouble is between the next 2 games, and I'm going to reveal them right away. And these 2 are, I think, Game of the Year. And it's very hard to decide which one wins. The first one I'll mention is a game called The Last of Us. And again, Troy Baker's in it. Instead of Booker DeWitt, he plays a character named Joel. And this is basically a post-apocalyptic type setting with zombies, plant zombies to be accurate. That, you know, these fungal spores infect people, and they become like mushroom-like people, but like they'll tear your throat out. So they're like half plant, half human. It's pretty cool. And Troy Baker reprises his role as Joel. He's basically a survivor. Now, where this game really grabs you, it's very equal in storyline to BioShock Infinite. This game is all about story. The character you play, Joel, again, I'm going to give minor spoilers. I've never seen a game open up within 15-20 minutes of itself and you're just like, your jaw is dropped and like, you may have tears in your eyes, because Naughty Dog produced this game, and like Naughty Dog's very good at like grabbing at people's emotions, and just the introduction alone was like heartbreaking. If you haven't played it, play it. I don't want to say any more, but to be honest, the rest of the game, first of all, I will say the graphics are at least an 8 or 9 out of 10. The storyline, a 10. Okay, this game shines in the graphics department, I think, and the storyline especially. The voice actors, like I said, it's a post-apocalyptic world, and I've seen some. You can look these up on YouTube or game trailers, but how the game programmers designed this world is like they took actual cities, like, you know, and I'll tell you this, I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Pittsburgh is in the game, and they mention a specific part is the Strip District, and it is dead on how they do the graphics. So they build these buildings in this programming, and then they kind of like ruin them with, like, you know, because like 20 or 30 years have passed since the apocalypse happened, so everything's basically overrun by nature with vines and trees and you know, just and whatnot. And it is so well done. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, it doesn't match Ni no Kuni's graphics, I will say that, because of the cell shading, but it's at least an 8. But the storyline, I think, like I said, it's a 10. It's The Last of Us is probably, there's a good chance it's going to be Game of the Year. And if you haven't played it, play it. If you haven't played it, play it. It's freaking awesome. I don't want to give more away just because anything I want to say is it's spoiler-like, but you know, you're basically a guy leading a young teenage girl. She's immune to like the zombie virus, and you're trying to get her to like something like the CDC, like the Center for Disease Control, which is based in Colorado at this point. But play it. It is stunning. But I will say where it fails, or not fails, but is average. The gameplay, it's a typical shooter. Like, you know, you have guns and you can upgrade your weapons, but meh, it's been done before. The last game I want to talk about, which is up for Game of the Year next to The Last of Us, is Grand Theft Auto 5 by Rockstar. Now, when I think of Rockstar, I consider Rockstar equivalent to another company called Blizzard. If any of you have ever played the Diablo series, the StarCraft or Warcraft series, or the Warcraft MMORPG, Blizzard has it down right. Blizzard's a company, they're like the complete opposite of EA. Instead of producing a game every year like Madden or Call of Duty, it takes them goddamn so forever, it pisses you off. But man, when the game's made, it is at least above average, if not excellent. And that's what Naughty Dog kind of reminds me of. I'm sorry, not Naughty Dog, Rockstar. Rockstar does they do the Grand Theft Auto games, Red Dead Redemption, and whatnot. But what's cool about Grand Theft Auto 5 is, yes, it's a Grand Theft Auto game, it's been done before, but Rockstar is very innovative, where they make each Grand Theft Auto very different from itself. In Grand Theft Auto 5, instead of one main character, there's 3, and you can switch between them at basically almost any time. Sometimes you can't, but you can switch between these characters, and each ones have their own separate missions. And on top of that, each character also, there's three-part missions where all 3 characters are involved in like a heist, like where they robbed like a jewelry store and whatnot. But the graphics are above average. And by the way, this is the only game I haven't beat out of everything I've mentioned. I'm probably about 15 hours into Grand Theft Auto, but I felt that I could review it by now. Graphics are great, storyline's average, I will say. In Grand Theft Auto, I think you'll agree with me, you may not. The storyline has always been average in the Grand Theft Auto. There's no drama or like jaw-dropping moments like, what the fuck, you know, something like in The Last of Us or even BioShock series. But it's the open box it's the open, basically the open box game. You could do whatever you want. In this game, I haven't done it yet, and I probably won't do it, but I commend it. You can play golf, you can play tennis, you could do so many things in this game. It's like, you know, an open box sandbox game, but it's beautiful. It's just, and to be honest, I'm gonna give Grand Theft Auto the win over The Last of Us, and I kind of feel guilty for doing that, to be honest with you, because You know, like I will say The Last of Us storyline is a 10 out of 10, but if I could make it higher, it'd be like a 20 out of 10 if that makes sense. And just the drama and how it just makes you feel for the characters. Where Grand Theft Auto, it's the same thing over and over, to be honest. But like I said, anytime a Grand Theft Auto game comes out, you're excited because it takes goddamn like 4 or 5 years for one to come out. So, but I'm going to give it to Grand Theft Auto. The game of the year from 2013 is Grand Theft Auto 5. I'll give it, you know, in a very close second, like literally a centimeter is The Last of Us. I would not be surprised in the video game awards if Grand Theft Auto wins Game of the Year. Or if The Last of Us wins Game of the Year, to be honest. It will not surprise me. That's how good these games are. Regardless if it's a storyline that draws you in, or just that you can do whatever you want, you know, Grand Theft Auto-esque, you can do whatever you want game. So it's between those two. Let me know in the comments below what Game of the Year do you guys think won. There might be even a game out of the 4 I mentioned that you think should be Game of the Year. I'd like to hear your opinion. I'd like to hear if you disagree with me or agree with me. Let me know anything that you think I missed that should be Game of the Year. So I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching.